$10,000. That's how much debt I was carrying, and it felt like I would never be able to escape. I wasn't making big money at the time. I hadn't even started my business. I sure enough did not win the lottery, but I paid it off very fast in less than a year. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly what I did, the good, the bad, and the parts no one really talks about. If you're buried in debt or you're just tired of feeling stuck, this one's for you. Before we jump into the steps, let me give you a quick background. I had about $10,000 in debt spread across credit cards, a small personal loan, a couple of unpaid bills. And it wasn't the biggest number ever, but it felt massive at the time. And what made it worse, I was living from paycheck to paycheck, just like a lot of you probably are. This video isn't about perfection, it's about progress, of how small decisions added up to major change. The first step wasn't budgeting. It wasn't even making a payment plan. It was just facing the debt. For a long time, I had avoided logging into my banking apps. I had ignored calls from creditors. I told myself I'll fix it when I make more money. Spoiler alert, that never came. So I sat down, printed out all my bank statements, and created a debt snapshot. Who I owed, how much, what the minimum repayments were, what the interest rates were. It was painful, but clarity gave me power. You can't fix what you're not willing to face. The second thing I did was that I separated my money into two accounts. One was a survival account, which covered rent, food, and the basics of living. The second was a progress account that covered all the debt repayments and savings. Why? Because when your money is all in one account, it disappears. You don't know what's for bills, what's for debt, and what's for you. Even when I had just a little to work with, this system gave me control. It made me feel like I was making progress, even with small wins. The third step was something most people don't like to talk about, and that was shifting my mindset from a spending mindset to an investing mindset. I was emotionally attached to spending. I was buying things that made me feel in control when my money wasn't. But the truth is, every unnecessary swipe was a vote to stay in debt. So I gave myself this rule: no emotional spending. Before any purchase, I'd ask myself, will this matter in 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months? If the answer was no, I didn't buy it. And I started replacing spending triggers with saving rituals, like transferring $10 to my debt kill fund every time I wanted to order a takeout. I wasn't punishing myself. I was retraining my financial habits. The fourth step was the actual payment plan. Now, on this one, we'll talk about the numbers. So here's exactly how I tackled the $10,000 debt. I listed my debts from smallest to largest, not by interest rate, but by amount. Why? Because I needed quick wins. Paying off a small amount, like $150 of debt, felt amazing, and it kept me going. Every extra cent went to the smallest balance. I called it the debt snowball strategy, and it worked. I made minimum payments on everything else, but I hammered the debt I was focusing on. The fifth step was cutting expenses without hating my life. Nope, I didn't give up coffee, but I did look at where money was leaking. I looked at subscriptions I wasn't using, groceries I wasn't finishing, Ubers I really didn't need. I cut or downgraded almost $100 worth of monthly expenses and redirected that money to my debt repayments. But I also gave myself a tiny fun budget just to keep my sanity. This made it sustainable, because if your plan makes you miserable, you'll end up quitting. About 7 months in, I made my final repayment. It wasn't a huge celebration. No one threw me a party, but I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, and that was relief. No debt, no anxiety when my phone rang, just peace. And from that day onwards, I promised myself never again will I owe money I can't handle. So here's the simple truth. You don't need a big income to get out of debt. You need a system, a mindset, and a reason to keep going. I didn't get lucky, I got focused. And if I can do it, you can do it too. So let me ask, are you paying off a debt right now as you're watching this video? Drop it in the comments. Tell me your biggest struggle or your first step. And if this helped, share it with somebody who's feeling overwhelmed by their finances. We don't gatekeep financial peace here. I'll see you in the next one.